Welcome to the Taiwan language episode, a podcast for learning and insights in Mandarin and Taiwanese. I'm your host, Yasmin. Welcome back to the Taiwan language episode podcast. Today I want to take you on a journey to a place that I have long misunderstood, Kinmen. Some of you may not know where it is, so let me give you a brief introduction. Kinmen is a country off the coast of Taiwan's mainland. It lies about 5 to 10 kilometers from Xiamen, depending on the exact point measured. Although the Xiamen belongs to China and is very close to Kinmen, Kinmen is under Taiwan's sovereignty. Growing up on Taiwan's mainland, I had certain fixed ideas about Kinmen, but after finally visiting, my whole perception completely changed. So in this episode, let me tell you what surprised me the most. To be honest, I never thought I would visit Kinmen. For me, it was always just the frontline island we learned about in history textbooks, a military zone that once stood between Taiwan and China's military threat. I imagined it as a place filled with old bomb shelters, abandoned barracks, and perhaps a few leftover soldiers stationed there. It was also famous for Kinmen Kaoliang liquor, which you can easily buy in stores across Taiwan. One of my friends who did his military service there once told me how boring and bitterly cold the winters were on the island. So naturally, my impression of Kinmen was not very exciting. Just military remnants and not much else. Then something changed. One of my relatives enrolled in Kinmen's top university. She started telling me more about what life was really like there, about the peaceful villages and beautiful old streets. That planted a seed in my mind. But even then, most people I spoke with suggested that 2 days in Kinmen is more than enough. So I hesitated until one summer, I finally booked a 3-day trip in July, and what I experienced was nothing like what expected. I feel like I had stepped into a completely different world, one full of hidden stories, local charm, and small but surprising details that challenged everything I thought I knew about Kinmen. From the very beginning, it was clear the island had far more to offer than I would ever imagined. Even something as simple as my first stop at the tourist center gave me a hint that this trip would be anything but ordinary. So let me walk you through some of the biggest surprises I encountered during my 3-day journey on this unexpectedly captivating island. When I landed and visited the tourist center, they handed me not one, but multiple maps. Each map was designed around a different theme: birdwatching, history, traditional villages, architecture, and more. I suddenly thought, wait, are there really that many things to explore in Kinmen? And to my surprise, the answer was definitely yes. I had heard Kinmen was a dry island with fewer raining days than Taiwan, maybe around 30 raining days per year, with annual precipitation of about 1,100 millimeters. People even said the summer heat will feel slightly cooler than on the main island. But the moment I arrived, rain. Day 2, heavy rain. Day 3, even heavier. I later found that I actually experienced the heaviest rainfall ever recorded at Kinmen's weather station. Locals say they will never see such a flooding before. In just one day, Kinmen received almost one-fifth of its total yearly rainfall. Unlucky? Maybe, but it made the experience even more unforgettable. When you come to Kinmen, of course you forgot to try some of the local specialty foods. I am not calling them delicacies, but special, because honestly, not everyone might like them, but they are definitely unique to Kinmen. First, fried dog sticks. Kinmen's version is super chewy and kind of bread-like, not the crispy type we usually have on Taiwan's main island, but yep, it is still just as oily. Second, Kaoliang liquor. It is literally everywhere. You can even find it in convenience stores. Of course, you can also buy it on Taiwan's main island, but here in Kinmen, it is part of daily life. One of the most beautiful surprises was the architecture. I had no idea that so many 100-year-old houses were still preserved and actually inhabited. Walking down the lanes felt like stepping back in time. Also, anyone who rides a scooter on Taiwan's mainland island knows this. Manhole covers are super dangerous. They are often uneven or sunken, and if you are not careful, you might easily slip and fall. But in Kinmen, the roads are incredibly smooth. Even the manhole covers are machine pressed to sit perfectly level with the road. I was seriously impressed by that. Kinmen felt like a unique mix of Eastern and Western architecture and traditions. Some buildings show clear Western influence, while others were deeply Chinese in design, full of cultural heritage. One cultural difference I noticed was with the elderly residents. On Taiwan's main island, many elders are accompanied by caregivers from Southwest Asia or China, but in Kinmen, most elders seem strong and independent, walking around on their own or chatting outside their homes. I even heard that Kinmen's generous patient policy attracts many people to register as residents, even if they don't actually live there. So maybe the ones who do live there full time are the healthy ones. I also noticed many locals speaking with a different accent. At first, I thought they might be immigrants or from Southeast Asia, but my relative explained that it is actually the local Kinmenese dialect. It is closer to the Minnan dialect we speak on the main island, but with its own unique sound. Kinmen, like much of Taiwan, is full of temples and spiritual traditions. You will see temples honoring philosophers like Zhu Xi, deities shared with Taiwan such as Ma Zu, historical heroes like Yue Fei and Wen Tianxiang, mythological characters like Nuo Zha and the Monkey King Sun Wukong, Buddhist figures like Guan Yin, Taoist gods such as 九天玄女, 9 heavens goddess, and local guardians like Feng Shi Ye, Wind Lion gods, and spirits of soldiers who died on the battlefield. You can really feel how rich and layered Kinmen's spiritual life is. It is deeply woven into their everyday lives. Before visiting Kinmen, I had a completely one-sided view, bombs, barracks, and even a story from Bai Xianyong's Taipei People collection, A Sea of Blood Red Azaleas. There is one narration. When I was in Kinmen, there were a number of old soldiers in our battalion. They must have been in the army for almost 20 years, but it seemed to me that they had still kept a childlike innocence. The joy, anger, sorrow, and happiness were just like the burning sun and sea storms of Kinmen. Primitive and direct. Sometimes I'd see a whole lot of them naked in the ocean, having water fight. From time to time, one or another of their wrinkled faces will suddenly break into a child's smile, the kind of smile you never see on grown faces. You are welcome to go back to episode 18 and listen to the full story. But after just 3 days, I realized how misguided that impression was. Sometimes we are shaped by what we hear or what we assume, but travel lends us a challenge to those ideas and form new ones. For me, Kinmen turned out to be a place full of hidden beauty, living history, and local warmth. I will be posting some photos from my Kinmen trip on my website and sharing more insights in my upcoming newsletter. If you are curious about this special island, visit my website www.taiwanlanguageepisode.com. Next, it's our Taiwanese time. Today we mentioned Kinmen, which in Taiwanese is Kinmen, and map in Taiwanese is 地圖. There are many old houses in Kinmen and we call them traditional houses, or in Taiwanese it is 古厝. Kinmen is also famous for its soldiers and kaoliang liquor. Soldiers in Taiwanese is 阿兵哥, and kaoliang liquor is 哥凉. And now let's review the 5 Taiwanese words we learned today. Kinmen, 地圖, 古厝, 阿兵哥, 哥涼. And that wraps up what I wanted to share today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you like this podcast, I would be so grateful if you could leave a 5-star review on your favorite listening platform and share it with your best friends. It really helps more people discover this podcast. And if you would like to support my work, you can buy me a cup of coffee. Every bit really helps me keep creating language learning resources for you. To enrich your learning experience, I also create a study guide in both Chinese and Taiwanese. You will get a full transcript in Chinese with pinyin and Taiwanese with both romanization and local phonetic symbols. The study guide also includes key vocabulary, reading comprehension questions with the answer keys, and a few bonus questions to help you think deeper about the topic. And I also publish a newsletter every Tuesday on my website. Each post connects with the week's episodes and adds more culture insights, travel stories, and learning tips. Welcome to visit my website and check it out or subscribe newsletter so you will not miss future posts. Also, there are many learning resources for you to choose from. Stay tuned for next week's episode. Bye for now.